Hi everybody, I'm Mindy Thomas and welcome to Career Chat. We air every Monday at 11:30 a.m. and Tuesday at 8 p.m. If anybody has their pulse on the local job market, my next guest really does. Everything from hiring trends to employer staffing to recruiting to job seeker advice. My next guest, and you want to stay tuned for her, she's a powerhouse. Her name is Laura Kasper. She's the CEO of Monarch Staffing. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mindy. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you on the show, and thank you for making time. I know it's a very busy time for you. Laura, we go back many, many years. When I was a director of placement at a technical college, I was floating the graduates to you. It was big time flush back then. Obviously, we have a very different narrative today. I'd love to speak with you today about the impact of COVID-19 and what can job seekers expect? What can employers expect moving forward?
Yep. So I think in today's world, it's a lot different than it was many years ago. The unemployment right now is close to 15%. Job seekers are out there in abundance. 6 months ago, I would tell you it was a candidate's market. It's going to be an employer's market in the next 3 months. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to get back into the workforce, and with millions and millions coming back into the workforce, there might be some pressure for a little bit lower wages and things might be changing. So if you are a job seeker, now's a better time to jump into the market rather than waiting. Because the competition is going to be really stiff, probably come the end of August, the beginning of September.
And you've helped thousands of job seekers over a 25-year stint in this business, as well as hundreds of employers. So your company not only staffs for employers, they do HR consulting. What else do you do?
Yep, and we do training, we do HR consulting, we're helping employers with their handbooks, and now because of the COVID-19, different protocols that employers need to use when they're bringing back the people into the workforce. We were just notified by the governor of Pennsylvania that hopefully June 5th we'll be in the yellow zone. So we'll be allowed to gather in groups of 25, and more employers that I am speaking with are starting to bring folks back into their workforce in different types of shifts. So things are changing, but we need to be prepared because everybody has to be ready with the PPE equipment, your personal protective equipment, coming to work with gloves if you need it, definitely a mask. And your hand sanitizers are really important. And gone are the days when people are going to be handshaking for an interview. Those days are gone. People are going to be doing Zoom interviews. We've always been doing Zoom interviews with snowstorms. This is just a much bigger storm. So we're finding that we're talking to our candidates more and more with the Zoom interviews. So it's been really great.
Laura, when you mentioned protocols, many of our viewers may not even understand that verbiage. Could you define that and talk about the safety protocols? Well, you just mentioned them, but are there other protocols that employers...
There's an extra layer of screening that now, as a placement agency, we're required to do by law, in asking certain questions for candidates before we actually place them on a physical job.
Okay.
Even if they're getting trained, they might be getting trained at the location. One of our clients was creative enough to hire 6 customer service people. They brought them into the office, trained them there with their trainer on video, and then they're going to send them home after 2 weeks to work. Even in that case, we had to ask questions about safety. Have they been, come in contact with somebody that has COVID-19? And do they have symptoms, whether it be a fever, a high fever, or the sore throat or the chills? So we have to ask that to protect them and to protect our employers. So there is an added layer of screening. And employers are doing the same. Some employers are even bringing in equipment to test for temperature taking, whether it be a tablet on the wall, a thermometer that they're giving people to come in. I mean, safety is the first and foremost concern on top of everybody's mind. It's both for the candidates and people that are returning to work and for the employers, being safe in the workplace. And even setting up like a 6-foot office space. So people aren't right one on top of the other. There's a lot of reconfiguring with office spaces right now. And speaking to employers of how that's going to look, maybe the conference room that once held 12 people at one time might have 4, and the rest are going to be on a Zoom or a video chat.
The innovation that is going on is just short of incredible. I cannot believe what's being invented right now to support the protocols, as you mentioned. I heard this morning from one of my clients that he has to sign a release. If he catches COVID on the job because he's like a salesperson and has to travel a bit, they're now requesting a release form. Have you ever heard of that?
No, but there are some new rules around workers' compensation. So that is in Congress, and there's new laws with, that is out there that if you do catch COVID while on the job, you, of course, might be able to collect a workers' compensation. So I think employers are trying to protect themselves. So the employment attorneys have been very, very busy. I mean, we're in the process of rewriting our handbooks, doing our new best work practices. So when we put people out to work, that they feel that they, have a voice, they can come to us, they can ask us questions. We want to make sure that they're cared for out in the workforce. It's important to them. It's important to us.
In this case, it was about the employee suing the employee.
Liability for the employer.
Yes.
Everybody's trying to CYA.
Yes.
That's happening.
Very, very interesting. Now, you staff for everything from human resources to sales. Could you run that down for our viewers so that they know?
Sure. So we do quite a bit of practice around administrative, office support, customer service, sales, marketing, accounting, human resources, some entry-level IT folks, marketing. And we have been, starting to see clients call us more now. There was a big pause early on. I think everybody was in survival mode. So we're getting used to working at home. We know that work at home works. So now it's a matter of how do we onboard new people. And the other thing that's happening with the employers is some of the employees that they have might not be able to work just due to some personal circumstances. Maybe they have small children. Maybe they have special needs children. Maybe they might not be able to come back the way the employer wants them to come back. And I do think there's going to be quite a bit of uptake in new jobs being created. So there's a bright shining star to this. There's going to be new positions in human resources being created, whether it be extra nurses that are on the wellness side, whether it be people in the safety and OSHA that are more coordinators and helping with this COVID. In fact, we just got an order from one of our clients on Friday that is now a safety and HR coordinator because the HR director is so busy. So she needs an extra hand with all these new things and new rules and protocols. So I think the HR departments are going to be booming. So any of the new grads out there that are looking for HR positions, we have a few that we're filling right now. So definitely there's a bright shining star with that. There is going to be more wellness in the workplace. I think that's very positive. Employers are going to be more tuned in to employees and their wellness and offering things for the whole mind, body, and soul, and giving employees breaks during the day when they're working. It's okay to, take a break in the middle of the day. It's not so much managing the input, it's managing the expectations and the output. And I think that smart employers and good leaders are really looking at that.
As the CEO of Monarch Staffing, I know that you have a team of recruiters, and I know that you also interview a lot of my clients that I send you. What are the things that you're looking for when you do that Zoom interview with a potential candidate?
Right. I mean, so right now it is about, the class of 2020 even that's graduating. I mean, these kids we're looking for resiliency. We're looking for adaptability. They have it. They're thrown into this. They have to be creative. That's what employers want. The other thing I think is real important now that what we look for is when we do Zoom interviews is that people are showing up, that they look the part. They are dressing as if they're walking into an interview. So many times over the past couple months, we've had very casual people show up, maybe in a more casual atmosphere, or just have their screen kind of wiggle on motion sickness. So I almost got sick on one of my Zoom interviews. So, tip to the job seeker, put your phone in a tripod and keep it steady. And they're looking for the communication skills and listening skills, the same thing that they would be looking for, I think, if you walk into an interview. But I think now, because it is on Zoom, that has to come across louder.
Yes. I have empathy for the introverts of the world.
Right. It's hard.
Because
it's really hard now.
Do you have any advice for them?
Yes. So there's a great book. It's actually, I will send you the link, Mindy, but it's called Job Interviewing for the Introvert, like job seeking for an introvert. I will definitely send you the link.
Is that by Jane Finkel? I already read it.
Yeah, I forget the name of it. But there's also
gal.
another great book I like for introverts. It's called Quiet.
Okay.
And that is about leading as an introvert in today's economy.
I love it.
It's a great book. So, and it will really help people. In fact, my daughter is an introvert, and she said to me, Mom, after this whole thing is done, I might become an extrovert and want to go out a little more. But I said, no, I don't think so. But, people have their tendencies.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Well, do you have a little bit of empathy when you realize, because I can pick it right out.
Yes.
And I mean, introverts, I remember asking my students back when I was adjunct at Immaculata for 17 years, well, who do you think makes the better salesperson, the introvert or the extrovert? And they always say the extrovert, but the introvert has tremendous skill, right, Laura?
Yeah.
They listen well. They don't jump out of the gate.
They're disciplined.
They're what? They're disciplined.
Yep.
They take
They're
in
detailed.
all. They take in all that. They detail, and they take in all the information before they open their mouths.
They're process people.
Very much. They very much
process. So, I've twin girls, so one is very much an introvert and one is very much an extrovert. But both can be leaders in their own unique way. And I think for an introvert, especially with this Zoom interview, it can be a little intimidating, just as if they were walking into an interview. Could be uncomfortable, but I think the more you practice and be prepared for the questions that you'll be asked will really help, because those folks need to be prepared. So, doing your homework, and they're going to be prepared much more probably than the extrovert who thinks that they can come in and wing it. So, I think that, they could have a little bit of an advantage if they just take a little bit of time in preparation. And now we have so much information that we can use today at our fingertips.
What are some of the questions? Some of the questions that you ask that your recruiters ask that are just typical questions right out of the gate?
Sure. Some of the things might, share with me an example about how you've been able to be adaptable in this environment. We ask more behavioral type questions. So adaptability is really important. Give me an example of maybe a time where you may have failed, and what did you learn from it? That could be, learning about how resourceful people are. Employers want candidates with critical thinking skills. So can they see the bigger picture is really important. Yeah. Not so much, yes, doing the task is important, but they also have to be able, it's not, in today's world, it's not about just keeping things the way they are. We are living in what we talked about before, Mindy, a VUCA environment with volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. So how are people reacting during those times, and what are they doing? It's not about keeping things the same. It's about breaking them and fixing them and being able to do it better and more efficient. So we ask candidates, and these more seasoned candidates too, about some of their things that they were able to be, some of the successes that they've had, and even some of their failures and what they've learned through that.
From an employer's perspective, how do you see the challenges snowballing for them? I mean, what are their biggest barriers and concerns moving forward?
Yeah, number one is safety. That's the biggest pull.
Okay.
And number two, I mean, I know so many employers that have people that are just not ready to come back yet, but employers need to have workers come back because they have work to do. So they are, it's really hard for them right now because they do have their PPP loan, right? So a lot of small businesses under 500 employees got their loan money. So that loan money came a week or so ago. They only have 8 weeks to use that money.
Oh my goodness.
And be able to spend 75% of it on wages and healthcare costs. So, you know, for them to get a reimbursement or to be loan forgiveness, they have to have people come back on payroll. It's really important. So if there are job seekers out there, help your employer and come back because it's going to be a lot easier to come back now than it will be 3 months from now.
Yeah,
And,
so
you know, if you want your employer to stay in business and to employ you, you want to come back now because 3 months from now, there's going to be a bigger talent pool and employers might upgrade skills. We've already had companies call us to say, you know what, I don't think I'm going to bring that person back. I think I want to look for somebody else now. Because at a 3% unemployment, I was kind of hanging on to people. But at close to a 15% unemployment now, and Goldman Sachs predicts by the end of the year, we might even be closer or peak at 25%. That's more than the Great Depression. There's millions of people that are going to be out of work. Competition for those jobs is going to be really, really high. So if you're a job seeker, you want to get back into the market now. You're going to be valued more. You're going to get a higher wage. And it's your best opportunity.
So there are a lot of steps for the job hunter to look at right now. We have to take a short break and we'll come right back and let's talk about what's needed besides resume and LinkedIn. And of course, they've got to update the resume. They have to update LinkedIn. And there's other things that we're going to look at as soon as we come right back. Stay tuned.
Sounds great.
Look, do I look good?
I want to play hard.
My nails done once a month.
I want.
I want a home. I just want a home. I want someone to love.
Last year, more than 30,000 companion animals came to us without homes. 20,000 of them were felines. Let's make some homes together.
Hello everyone, I'm Mark Iorio. I'm the host of Rainmakers Roundup right here on RVN TV. The show is about looking for people who are in competitive businesses that are doing something different and unique in the world of sales and marketing. Join me right here on Rainmakers Roundup on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. and then again on Thursday evenings at 6:30 p.m. right here on RVN TV.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacqueline. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacqueline.com to book an appointment today.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Welcome back to Career Chat. I'm Mindy Thomas. I am with the CEO of Monarch Staff, Laura Kasper. Laura, we were talking about the millions of people on unemployment. Some of them are making more money on unemployment than they did at their jobs. Now, there's an upside, clearly, but there's also a downside. Can we address that for our viewers today?
Yeah, so what's going to happen in a few months from now is that millions of people are going to want to come back into the workforce. So the competition to find a job is only going to increase as more and more people are unemployed.
Okay.
So if you are a job seeker in today's market, you want to work your networks now because you're going to be able to command a higher salary. There's not as many people looking for jobs right this minute. And you're going to be able to kind of move forward in that company, and you're going to be respected along the way for it. And you don't have as much competition. It's all about supply and demand. So it is right now, it's still, candidates can still kind of get what they want. But in a few months, when all those people, millions of people want to come back into the workforce, it's going to look different. And it will be an employer's market again, not a candidate's market. So smart candidates and smart job seekers today want to, you said, maximize your LinkedIn profile, do your resume writing prep and make sure that's great. And see Mindy Thomas for that. And, prep on your video interviews and your Zoom interviews. But the other thing that you can do personally is get out there and volunteer and help. The more you expand your networks with volunteering and connecting with people, the more job opportunities are going to open up for you. So it's not so much sometimes where you land, it's the people along the way that make a difference in your life. And you can really create some of those networks now for yourself. Your friends on Facebook and different things like that are out there. Don't let being unemployed get you down. Know that, it can be a bright shining star now, and you have a nice opportunity maybe to, seek a job that you couldn't seek. And the other thing is really hone in on your professional development. For goodness sakes, you can take Harvard classes for free now.
That's unbelievable.
I'm personally taking a coaching class that I never thought I'd be taking. I'm taking a coaching class with somebody from Germany, which is unbelievable. So there's so much professional development that you can really work on now as a job seeker that you would never have that opportunity to do in regular times. And I think you have to look at what you can do, not what you can't do, to really make a difference for yourself and for those around you.
I agree, Laura, and that's such great advice. Recruiters are going to ask, what did you do during COVID-19? And if you have a laundry list, you're in good shape. It looks really good. You present well, you let them know, I did this, I did that, I got this certificate. I was taking courses on Khan Academy or at Harvard. They'll be very impressed with your initiative. And I think initiative is extremely important right now because there's a lot of employers out there. They get a free out. If you have not really worked very hard and you were like a low performer and you didn't really care, guess what? They're not going to ask you back. Why? Because there's a whole pool of people out there that are hungry and they have to support themselves and their families. So,
and I think it can go both ways too, Mindy. I think as an educated job seeker, you should ask employers, what did they do? How are they reacting to COVID-19 with their employees? What did they do? So you get a really feel of what employers are doing too, and how they treat their people that they have currently working for them. That speaks volumes for an employer. And you can see some of those reviews on Glassdoor or things like that are out there. So smart job seekers, should really ask those kinds of questions. It's all about, I think that's going to speak volumes going forward on the good things that employers are doing and how they're helping and how they're volunteering and giving back to their community. I've seen many over the past few months do things that are out of the box and extraordinary, and even people that are doing some really great things for this world. So I think it goes both ways, the job seekers and for the employers. So I know ourselves, we gave some free resume writing advice to help people.
Laura, to keep up with the trends, who and what are you reading right now? Because
everything and
I'm like
anything.
I'm like a webinar junkie, you know. I just like the content is so
so much.
It's so much that we're flush with content right now. I'm
Right.
wondering, what papers are you reading to get your sources and your information, and who are you trusting now with facts and figures and the narratives with regard to
Right.
the job market?
Well, I look at often the PA unemployment website because
Okay.
that's where we are. So I look at that. I also am a big proponent of Flipboard. If you don't know what Flipboard is, it is a great app I have on my phone and on my computer that I use to send me things that are crucial to the job market. So I get magazines from Entrepreneur and Fortune and Money Magazine, and it's great. It feeds me my daily feed every day. So I'm addicted to that. I do read a lot of LinkedIn, some content on LinkedIn. Some of my employer groups that are legal attorneys, they are coming out with some great things, and I belong to the MEA, the Mid-Atlantic Employers Association. I'm reading a lot from there, and the American Staffing Association as well, to keep up on the career advice and what's happening in our market. So that's usually where I'm getting my feed from. And there's a great book I'm reading from Mark Devine. It's called The Way of the Seal, and it's about working in this VUCA environment and really how you're able to, with your vision and clarity and insight, be able to get through a lot of these changes and help your team and be a leader for your team.
That title was, again, working in the bazooka environment. What did you say?
Bazooka. No, it's called The Way of the Seal. It's called The Way of the Seal.
Okay.
It's by Mark Devine.
Yes.
And it's about working in a VUCA, VUCA environment.
Okay, very good, very good. So other trends that are happening that the job hunters should be aware of, anything else that we can add to this laundry list?
Job hunters. Definitely the free professional development would be the top of my to-do list if I was a job seeker during this time. The other part would be connecting with people, more people on LinkedIn, following companies on LinkedIn that they like, and that they admire, and even commenting on things. So maybe there's a recruiter that has a comment, or even an employer that has a comment about something, showing interest in where they want to work and doing a little more research on that. I think is really, really helpful. And connecting with staffing agencies. A lot of times staffing agencies can get you seen where you might not be able to get seen. You might fall through the black hole of the applicant tracking system, but we have relationships and rapport with many, many employers.
Yes.
So they trust us, and it's easy for a one-stop shopping.
So that brings me to this point, and we have to close in about 60 seconds. If anyone is out there and they are interested in being rehired or working through Monarch Staffing, how do they get in touch with you?
Very easy. They can send their resume to resumes@monarchstaffing.com. They can give us a call, 610-604-0202. We're answering our phones. So either way, we're available and we're looking for candidates. We're busy. We have jobs now. So I'm really happy. Within the past couple of weeks, we started to pick up, and we have job opportunities that are available at various levels.
Well, Laura, this has been such a great time with you. I've enjoyed seeing you again. Thank you for making the time to be on the show today, Laura.
Thanks, Mindy. I really appreciate it.
You bet, you bet. To our viewing audience, thank you for joining me here on Career Chat. We will be here next week. If you have any questions about the show, or you need to direct a question to me, you can find me on LinkedIn, or just strictly go to thomascareerconsulting.com. To our healthcare professionals, I want to thank you for your sacrifice and service. Thank you so much for helping the American public. We are indebted to you. Have a safe and loving week with your family, and be safe, be brave, be strong. We'll see you here next week.